Jennifer England, who is probably as knowledgeable about sports as we are, certainly, and decidedly much better looking. Which, of course, we set the bar really low, Jennifer, but you set the bar really high. How are you?
You know, I am wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, you should be doing pretty good in that you are a Detroit Lions fan, if I recall.
I am a Detroit Lions fan, and you know what? I've been wearing my sweatshirt for over the past year, and finally people have stopped asking me why I am wearing my sweatshirt.
So how surprising is it to be a fan of a winning Lions team? Has that ever happened in your life?
You know what? It's great. I think it's been so long. Gosh, I think it was back in the later 90s, mid-90s, where they were actually really, really good. So it actually feels really, really nice to be cheering for a team that's finally coming around. The city definitely needs it.
Jennifer, David, Spada, the only person who used to wear Lions stuff was, I think, Tim Allen on Tool Time, on Home Improvement.
You know what? That could be. I mean, other than myself, yeah, that could be correct.
And if I also recall correctly, you're also a Michigan State fan, and Michigan State goes up against Michigan, and that should be fun.
I am actually, I don't mean to cut you off. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, but I am a University of Michigan fan. So I'm a Wolverines fan. So I just wanted to get that straight.
Okay, but you
went ahead.
That's okay. Now it's coming back to me. But you grew up in Spartan territory, did you not?
I did. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh.
So enjoying your stint as St. Pauli Girl so far?
It's been wonderful. I've been able to travel all over the place, and I learned a lot about beer, and, beer and sports always go well together, so that's always fun.
What did you learn about beer?
You know, I just learned that the whole process of the beer making is just so much more in-depth than I ever thought it was, and I really appreciate the taste more just because I know exactly what goes into making it.
Now, did I read someplace that your brother is now into beer making?
You know what? My brother has made beer homebrewed for a while, and he just opened Poor Decisions Brewery in Minnesota. So, yeah, it's kind of in the family now.
But, again, you are a favorite of St. Pauli beer, so, again, you would never promote his beer over St. Pauli.
I would never. No, the taste of St. Pauli Girl is great, and I'm always talking to him. I'm like, maybe we should contact St. Pauli Girl, and maybe you can carry St. Pauli Girl in there, and I can make an appearance there and come home and say hi.
Okay. Now, you'll be coming to Chicago Friday.
I will be.
And you'll be a busy young woman with appearances, about, 5 or 6 of them. So you drink, 3 or 4 beers at every stop, and by the end of the evening, you can't find the exit door? Is that how that works?
Not really. We try to have a couple beers with the fans throughout the evening, but I always have a driver, so we always tell people to drink responsibly, obviously. But yeah, it does. We have a lot of fun, so it's always a good time.
So when you go to Tilt to Kill tomorrow, you going to wear the Tilt to Kill outfit or the St. Pauli Girl outfit?
You know, I have to stick with my St. Pauli Girl outfit, especially because it sounds like the whole bar, the waitresses and the bartenders are all in St. Pauli Girl outfits, and we're going to be judging a contest. Elliott and I've heard that should be fun.
It should be. I have experience at this. If you need any help, just feel free to lean on me for that.
What, wearing women's clothing?
No. That's another story for another day. It's not true, David. No. Judging the contest last year was a lot of fun. Now, you're following in the footsteps of Katerina, who was the St. Pauli Girl for a couple of years. Do you think they'll hold you on for a second year? Does that have any appeal?
You know, I'm hoping so. I've never worked for a better company in my life, so they really treat me well. They spoil me, and I get free beer. So what can I say?
I don't know. That sounds good to me. How many of those St. Pauli Girl outfits do you have, or do you just have one?
I actually have a few, so I'm at the dry cleaner a couple times a week for sure.
Wait, so you have two?
Do you want to borrow one?
We can talk about that after the show.
So wait, you have 2 judges, or there's more than 2 judges tomorrow?
I think more than 2.
I was going to say, if there's 2 judges, who breaks the tie?
A woman's opinion always counts for 2. I'm sure you guys know that.
Yeah, David and I are both married, so we're well aware of how the voting process works. Yeah,
exactly.
So you have an athletic background from when you were young.
I do.
Do you have to do physical fitness to stay in shape? nowadays?
I do actually. I run track every morning, and then I go to the gym after that. So I'm always doing something, kickboxing or running or biking. So yeah, it's always been a part of my life.
In your St. Pauli Girl outfit?
Yes, absolutely. I do everything in my outfit. I cook in my outfit. I clean in my outfit. I do everything in my outfit, actually.
I see that you were a big-time swimmer. You played softball. Are you still involved in those sports?
No, I do. I still play co-ed when I get the chance. I'll play the co-ed softball. Swimming, not so much, but the softball I'm definitely into.
Okay. And you're also an actress, rumor has it.
Yeah.
You enjoy that part of the world?
I do. I love it. I do a lot of commercial acting, and then in movies, I'll do stunts, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, you were in Dodgeball, Transformers, G-Force. Were those doing stunts, or were those actually roles where you spoke?
Dodgeball, I was actually a dancer, and Transformers, Smoking Aces, and G-Force, those were all stunts. So
now,
how
does somebody...
fighting.
Pardon me, but you're so gorgeous. How does somebody like that end up as a stunt woman?
Thank you. I was just a tomboy my whole life. I had two brothers. We were always fighting or playing sports or something. So kickboxing for 15 years, I kind of fell right into the stunt world.
But wasn't G-Force a cartoon from what I remember?
It was. Yeah, I was a waitress that fell on my face in the middle of a bar. In 6-inch heels.
Because I have 3 girls. I remember seeing that movie with the kids. I'm going, I've seen so many kids' movies that one blends into the other, but I remember G-Force being a cartoon. I'm like, okay, did they animate Jennifer or something like that?
Nope, I was a person. I was me. I was in the bar, fell on my face, which is always fun.
Now, you've also posed for swimwear calendars and other exciting things like that. Do you think we'll ever see a St. Pauli Girl bikini?
I thought about that. I went to Maxim to their headquarters in New York last week, and I told them, I was like, you know what does it take to get a St. Pauli Girl on the cover? Do we have to make a new uniform and maybe make a swimsuit? And, if you guys maybe give them a call, they may jump on that bandwagon and get me on the cover.
Elliott's got the Maxim connection. A good friend of his, April Rose, has been on the cover several times. Get basically April to pull some strings, maybe have April and you on the cover.
Let's do it.
Sounds good to me. All we got to do is convince Maxim. If you can't convince him, I don't think David and I are going to have much luck.
I see that you modeled for Guess. Again, you were on Maxim, Miss Hawaiian Tropic. Is there a favorite ad you ever did?
You know what? I think one of my favorite ads would have to be, I worked for Beach Bunny Swimwear, so that was a lot of fun. That was a great ad, and also Bikini.com was one of the best companies I've worked for too. So, other than that, though, I think St. Pauli Girl, this whole year is going to be the best year and the best job I've ever had.
How much travel is involved in being the St. Pauli Girl? Are you ever home?
Right now it's really busy because of Oktoberfest. I'm usually home just a couple days out of the week, and then I go to my next spot. As you know, I'm coming to see you guys in Chicago tomorrow, and then I'll be in Philadelphia, Miami, and so all over. They're sending me everywhere.
I'll tell you what, one thing you did not when you came in second, you made the finals, was the WWE 2006 Diva Search. Who was judging that? Was it the same judges that were judging Dancing with the Stars? Because I looked at the girl that beat you. I'll tell you what, she can't hold a candle to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All I can say is she's sweet. She was full of life. She was animated. So, I did what I could to win, and I had a good time doing it. So.
She looks like a wrestler. She doesn't look like a beautiful woman.
I'll be over here not commenting. That's what my mom told me to do. No, she was a beautiful girl, actually, but just, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Definitely. And any desire to get into the wrestling ring after your St. Pauli reign is over?
We'll see. I take every day at a time, so it just depends. There's new things that come up for me every day, so I'll keep you guys posted what I do.
Now did you say new or nude?
New,
oh,
brand
okay.
new. No, I didn't say nude.
Okay.
No.
But there are nude things.
No dirty mind.
Oh.
I'd say try Dancing with the Stars, but again, in order to win on that show, you have to be ugly because all the beautiful women are getting knocked off. You're left with Nancy Grace and some of the other, I can't even think of the girls who are left.
You're going to tell me Chaz Bono, but Chaz is a guy these days.
Well, I actually put that out there too. I'd love to be on that as well. So maybe somehow St. Pauli Girl can be on Dancing with the Stars. But I'll keep you posted. You guys will be the first to know my next move.
Ooh.
Okay, no Detroit Lions cheerleader?
No, I was not a Detroit Lions cheerleader. I tried cheerleading 1 year. I'm more into sports. That was a little too girly for me. I'm a little tougher and rougher than that.
In your photographs, you don't look very macho, I have to say. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I just try to fly under the radar. So when I come in, I do co-ed softball. I play shortstop or second base. Nobody thinks I'm any good. And then, they scooch up on me when I go up to bat, and they realize that I've just hit it over their head. So I just try to fly under the radar. That's all it is.
What about professional softball? There's a team in Chicago, the Chicago Bandits, and Jenny Finch played till last year. Any thought about doing that?
I did not know that. I love the sport right now. I think that my traveling with St. Pauli Girl and my modeling and acting are really keeping me busy and happy. So I think I'm going to keep the softball on the side.
Okay. Now, is it very difficult playing shortstop in 6-inch heels?
You know what? Not really. I've practiced quite a bit, so it's pretty easy.
Those are her spikes.
Oh, is that the way that works?
Yeah, those are my spikes.
So are you a power hitter, or are you basically a slap hitter?
In between, I seem to get on every time I'm at bat. So I was always a cleanup hitter. I always just seem to be able to, I can pop it in the hole pretty much anywhere. So thankfully, and I grew up playing. Back in my day, they didn't have the fast pitch softball machine, so we grew up playing baseball. So I'd go in the 80 mile an hour. So I just grew up doing whatever my brothers did. So
okay. Getting back to Michigan, surprised at the Wolverines' success this season on the football field?
I think right now, nothing surprises me. I mean, you have the Lions that are 5-0. The Wolverines are getting better. The Detroit Tigers, come on, right now we're on a roll, and I just hope that it stays that way for a while.
Yeah, you got to keep them out of those extra inning games, though. They're getting killed by Texas.
Yeah, the Rangers kind of got them, and the only thing I think I was upset about is I was in New York last week, and there was a Detroit Yankee game, and I didn't get invited. So I don't know what the deal is about that.
Didn't you talk to your agent and say, make it happen, I want to throw out the first pitch?
You know what? I said that, but it was too late. I was already scheduled with interviews for St. Pauli Girl, and we were giving out beer and doing all that. So unfortunately, but yeah, I think that would have been great. I could have thrown out the first pitch in my St. Pauli Girl outfit.
What posters are you giving away tomorrow at the bars you're going to, the Tilt to Kilt and the others?
It would be the one where I am in my St. Pauli Girl uniform. So that will be given out, and then I think a lot of times we have the smaller pictures in the beer magazine also that will be given
all sorts of little goodies.
Because I'm going to stop by because I want to get a Jennifer England signed poster for me.
Come on down. I'll have one prepared for you.
Sounds great.
And then a few days later, it'll end up on eBay.
No.
No, it better not.
That's fine.
That's why she personalizes so you can't sell it. Don't you know that's the trick?
Is that how it works? When you sign your posters, that's the way it works, David?
No, they end up in the garbage with some of the other stuff. But, Jennifer, you've met a lot of famous people. Who is the most famous person you ever met?
Who's the most famous? Gosh. I guess the most famous person I ever met would be Bruce Willis, but, I mean, I guess it depends on what you think is famous and what you don't. But, yeah, I guess he'd be
Bruce Willis cool to hang with or not?
I didn't hang with him. I just happened to be there was a charity function. I just happened to meet him because I think one of my friends, we were mutual friends. I was mutual friends with his girlfriend. That was it.
You never met the old guy in California who runs Playboy?
Hugh Hefner?
Hugh Hefner? I have met Hugh Hefner.
And
he is what he is on, I guess, TV and magazines. Just quiet and older and polite, and that was it.
He didn't come after you to basically be on the cover?
I've had a few calls from his people over the years. That's something that I have chosen not to do up till this point.
So is it ruled out 100%, or is there a possibility?
There is a possibility. It is not ruled out 100%.
If the money's right.
Possibly if the money's right.
It's all about artistic expression, David. Don't you understand these things?
As long as it's not your daughter, it's artistic expression. If it's your daughter, it's something else.
Yeah, exactly.
So, any idea how many miles you'll log in your year as the St. Pauli Girl? Your frequent flyer miles, you should be able to go around the world several times if accumulating all those.
Yeah, that's another key and really good point of being a St. Pauli Girl. I do rack up a lot of sky miles, so that's great. I'll be traveling after I'm done traveling.
So wait, you don't have a private jet that the St. Pauli Girl travels on?
I do not, but we do have an upcoming event that they may fly me out private plane, which is very nice. So I'll let you know if that happens, but it's in the works.
Okay. But before then, you have several stops to make in Chicago.
I do. I have quite a few bar hops. We're hopping right along.
Have you memorized where you're going?
I have not memorized them, but I've gotten my itinerary, and I know that we have Kingston Mines. I know we have Lion's Head, Hooverstein, Tilted Kilt for sure, and
Lashett's Inn?
Yeah, you're right. And we have a Lashett's Inn, yeah.
Is there a website people could go to find out your schedule?
You can go to St. Pauli Girl, or you can .com, or you can go to Facebook as well under St. Pauli Girl, and it will have all my events too.
So I'm your friend on Facebook. Is I'm your personal friend, or is that the Jennifer England fan page?
You know what? You are my personal friend. I noticed that Elliott, we've been friends, I think, for a little while, and then David, I just okayed you to be my friend actually this morning because I figured I might have a little argument if I didn't accept you before I came on the radio, so I made sure I did that this morning.
You can always unfriend him in about 5 minutes, so.
Perfect. I was thinking about that.
I didn't ask the tough questions. That's Elliott. I asked the softball questions.
Literally.
No, I'm just joking. I did notice your name, though. I was like, oh, that's who I'm having an interview with.
You know what the funny thing is about Facebook, though? I have unfriended a couple people because they sent me stuff saying, I sent you some pictures I want you to take a look at. And I'm like, I am not opening up anybody's pictures from Facebook. I just basically use it to market. Do you get a lot of that where people basically send you pictures they want you to take a look at?
You know, people will send pictures, or most of the mail I don't even look at unless I actually know the people, or they'll post weird stuff on my page. That's the only thing. I want to be friends with everyone, but some people go a little overboard with all their posting and stuff on pages, I think.
They want to be more than friends.
Or just, I don't know, just put their face everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, unless you're putting up bottles of St. Pauli Girl on my page and all that, like Elliott Harris is doing, and telling people where I'm going to be, don't put your picture on my page, no.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time, Jennifer. It was a pleasure talking to you. Hope to see you tomorrow.
We'll see you Friday.
We will see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you.